afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to the podcast that explores the world within and out. And thank you for subscribing to Traveling Inside Out, wherever you get your podcast from, be it Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever it is. Thank you. Welcome to season 6. Yes, I can believe it. Season 6 of Traveling Inside Out. That's quite a journey. Before we get into today's subject, which probably you already know because you read the title, it's about a Pennsylvania road trip that my husband and I took. I just want to reintroduce myself for whoever hasn't been around for from the beginning or just tuned in, or that maybe you were around in the beginning and you kind of forgot who I am. So, long story short, my name is Alina, as I say in the intro. I am from Romania. I have started this podcast back in 2018. When I was living in Iceland, I was just about to leave Iceland for the second time or third time. For the third time, I think. Yeah, for the third time. And I started my podcast because I have done at the time a South American trip for 8 to 9 months, and I wanted to talk more about exploring the world and traveling. And also, from the beginning, I wanted to talk about being diagnosed basically with generalized anxiety and still doing the things that you want to do regardless of the situation. As I was saying, I started the podcast back in the day when I was a female solo female traveler. And I wanted to talk about my experience. And now, fast forward to today, I am married, so I'm mostly traveling with my partner. And I have talked about the switch between traveling by myself and then traveling with someone else and so on in a previous episode in the podcast. And I'm currently residing in Brooklyn, New York, slowly making roots. Maybe not in Brooklyn, we will see. I will let you know when and how we decide to move. But that being said, the last season ended somewhere in August, and I wanted to come back in October. However, I had some health issues that I had to work through. I was still kind of working, and I got overwhelmed again. You will hear in this podcast that I get overwhelmed a lot. At least I'm being honest. And I am back in therapy, which I'm going to talk about probably in one of these episodes, but I've just kind of started. Don't have so many sessions in. And so I'm going to probably talk a little bit more about it later on when I have more to tell, basically. And by the time you are listening to this podcast, I would have already experienced a pink concert. Hopefully, it's not going to be canceled or postponed. And but currently I'm not. I'm still waiting for it to happen. So in the future, like in the future episodes, I might talk a little bit about my experience from fulfilling one of my child's dreams, or like teenage dreams, to see Pink in a concert. Okay, that being said, let's talk about my road trip. Our our road trip. If you are curious to do a road trip in Pennsylvania, I can give you some advice and some not that good advice. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we've done and where we went. However, I do have to tell you, if you really want to see the pictures or the videos of the places where I've been, or even better mentioned the places where I've been at, I highly recommend you follow my YouTube page because I have been posting. I have been posted mini vlogs from my travels, and so if you are curious in that, I can tell you, like, you can see, you can get more information like that. And again, you can also see, like, you can have the visuals of my trip, as podcast is not the best to do that. So I decided to go to book a trip in Pennsylvania, because as I was saying, we live in Brooklyn, so it's like 3 hours away or something like that from here. I We did a similar trip last year, and I talked about it in Ithaca, and it was really lovely. And because we loved it so much, I wanted to kind of do it again. And because it's autumn and it was like peak foliage, I was, yes, let's do this again. So I booked a hotel in Carbondale, Pennsylvania, deciding the place where to stay at because it was a surprise for my husband. So I took the decision by myself. It was kind of a lot because there's so many little towns in around Pocono Mountains, and I didn't have the budget. We didn't have the budget to stay in a, you know, a resort, or you can pay resort or something like that. So I decided on Carbondale because at least it was kind of close enough for Pocono Mountains, close enough from Scranton, close enough that we could still be there and then travel and see other things around. Now, looking back in hindsight, I'm thinking that I chose the wrong place to stay at because Carbondale was not that cute, and there's a lot of other small towns around the area that are way, way, way prettier. They have like nice boutiques and stuff like that. For whoever is interested in prices, I can tell you that. So we went there from the 25th to the 28th of October, so from Wednesday to Saturday, and we paid $464 through booking.com, and I got a code from someone, so I will have $46, I think, back into credits. So basically I paid 420, more or less. We rented a car because we do not own a car, and the car was around $297 for the same period. So we left very early on the 25th, and we went back basically to leave the car on Saturday around 5 p.m. or something like that, like 3, 4, I don't remember. We arrived after 3, so yeah, between 3 and 4, I think. Um, but we had to pay some tolls, so a total the car was around $322. And then when it comes to the gas, I think we filled up the car twice, and we paid less than $50. I would say 40 something. I do not have the exact amount. And the car was with unlead regular. That's what we fill up the car with, which I have to be honest, I'm European. I have no idea what that means. And I didn't, my problem is that if I'm Googling, I'm not going to remember. I'm still very confused about what's diesel and what's petrol and whatever, that I'm just going to hope that people know what I'm talking about when I'm saying unlead regular. That's what we put in the car. Okay. That being said, we left very early in the morning, around 6 a.m., or maybe it's not that early. 6 a.m., we left Brooklyn. The idea was to try to leave town because we had to go from Brooklyn to Manhattan and then to go to New Jersey and then eventually make it to Pennsylvania. And so the idea was to go before the traffic starts. Well, I was wrong because the traffic was already. So next time we decided that we will have to do this way, way earlier. And we did one stop, which was like 1 hour away or 1 hour and a half. And they are called Singing Rocks. It is in Pennsylvania already, if I remember correctly. It's not in New Jersey. It is a place where there are huge rocks put together, and because they have a sort of a, I guess, metal in them, when you knock at them with a hammer, they make like a singing, like a metallic kind of a sound, I would say. Again, if you are interested in seeing that, you can check my YouTube channel. I'm gonna put the link in the description of the episode, but it's my name, Alina I Grad, GRAD, and that's how you can find it on YouTube. It's also the same name for the website, alinaigrad.com. That was really nice, and that was our first stop. So we stopped there. We had a bagel that I prepared in advance. We ate basically. We went on this short hike. We found a waterfall, and then we found the rocks, banged some rocks with a hammer that we brought in advance because I read that we should bring something in advance. And then we decided to continue. We went on another hike, and then we did another stop for another short hike that was around the river, and that was also like 1 hour or something like that. And then my idea was to stop for lunch somewhere in Ginthorpe, which is known as like a town in the Alps of the United States or something like that. It's a very cute, nicely done town. However, what I have not seen anywhere when I checked to the places where we could go and what we could do, I did not see anywhere that there are humongous parking issues. So we did basically two turns in that town and we could not find any parking. So we left. And it's funny because so that was on Wednesday. On Saturday, when we were coming back, we didn't go back to the town. There was actually, they were calling it like traffic Mageddon or something like that, I don't know, in which they got to a point that they were standing still, like they were just not, the cars were not moving because it got that crazy. I guess it's such a popular town, and we got there like around 1 or 2 p.m., which I didn't consider, and it was insane. So we did a bit two turns around the town, and then we just kept going, and eventually we stopped in a town that I still don't know the name of, and we just had some sushi. The place had really nice reviews. I usually don't really I don't trust any places to go for sushi, but I checked the pictures, I checked the reviews, and it looked like it was legit, and we have no regrets. And after that, we continued the trip in such a way that we avoided Scranton, and then we made it to the hotel. The hotel was all nice. We had a really nice room with a nice view on the upper floor. I usually like to go on the upper floor, like the highest possible, and we were on the highest fourth floor. With a nice view towards the town slash the forest behind it. It was really lovely. However, I planned a little surprise for my husband and it didn't work out. It was my first time ever that I called the hotel in advance to ask them to book for me and my husband a platter of cheese and some wine. And I talked on the phone with the person, and then they said they're gonna send me an email to confirm. I also asked them if you can not mention it when we check in because I want to be a surprise all the way in. And they were like, yeah. So he was like that. But then a few hours, like he was like, I'm going to send you the email. And then a few hours passed later in the evening of that day when I booked the hotel. I called, I sent them email, and I was like, I'd never received a confirmation email. Can I please get a confirmation email? So I was told that, yeah, you talk with the manager and the front desk will know what they have to do and you will have the thing in the room and all that. I get in the room, there's no wine, there's no cheese. I check everywhere. I check like the fridge, the mini fridge that they have. I literally checked in the bathroom and in the closet and in the drawers. And I'm like, okay, they wouldn't put it in the freaking drawers, would they? Nowhere. And so I'm starting to be angry. And my husband is like, what happened? And I'm like, I need to go back to talk with them at the front desk. And he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, it's fine, but I'm really pissed off right now. And he's like, okay. So I go down, and as I was going down, I was like, you know what? Let's not make a crazy thing here. Let's just try to keep it together and just say to this like what the situation is. So I go out and I tell them like, thank you so much for the room. The room looks amazing. Oh, I appreciate it. However, I booked in advance this and that, and there's nothing in the room. So the front desk is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Are you sure? Did you check? And I'm like, I checked literally in the closet. Like there's nothing. And she's like, okay, I will send someone over really soon. So we apologize. And I'm like, okay. I thought that they're gonna make it up to me because I was nice about it. I was wrong. Boy, was I wrong. So we had to wait for like half an hour, and I couldn't keep it anymore. So I had to say unfortunately, I told my husband. So I had this surprise prepared for you, and it didn't work out, and it was this and that. He was still very happy, and he was very thankful and all that. But like the experience of it was a little bit ruined because it wasn't already in the room. Um, so half an hour later, the person comes and brings us the thing. We get some cold cuts as well with some cheese and then the wine. The wine was not what I ordered, and I was like, I'm not even gonna like. It's fine, it's fine, it's fucking fine, because I wanted white wine, and I got red wine. I'm like, okay, whatever the fuck, man, doesn't even matter anymore. So that didn't work out. The next day, we decided to go and spend most of the time in Scranton and around Scranton. So we went on a lake, not on a lake, around the lake for a short hike. And then, I don't know how to pronounce, was it Og, or something like that? There's a park within Scranton area. And we went on a hike there, and we saw like a waterfall and the river. It was really beautiful. And then we went and we spent like 40 minutes or half an hour or something like that walking around Scranton area. And I've seen obviously the mural with the office. And then we decided to also go to a winery, and we found a very lovely winery on the side of a river. We took out, like, there were chairs outside. We had some drinks. It was so beautiful. And then we made it to the hotel, and then finally we went for dinner. Unfortunately, that was one of the problems. So the place, like Carbondale, is not the best town for dinner or for anything like this, because we didn't have so many options. So we went to McDonald's restaurants, not McDonald's, McDonald's. The only thing that I have to mention about the restaurant, other than the food was great, the serving was okay, nothing, like everything was okay, no problem there. There was a lot, and when I say a lot of dead animals on the all the walls. So I think we counted like 20 dead animals, which it is a hunting area. The places where we've been, like all of that. Within the mountains and the forest and so on, so it kind of like to be expected, but it's still something that I can't just look at a half of a dead animal on the wall. So that was a bit of a challenge for me. Then we also decided to see, actually this was also on Thursday, we decided to go and see the Steamtown National Historical Site, which was so lovely. The museum, the entry was for free. It's part of the national park. And it was nice. Unfortunately, we missed there was a train ride that we could have done, and we missed it. And then we didn't want to wait for the next one. And that was, we're having for like half an hour. So we didn't do that. But it was still very lovely. And then on Friday, we decided to go mostly in Pocono Mountains, and we've done two very short and kind of easy hikes, and we've seen some waterfalls. It was still very beautiful. The day started a bit rainy, like Friday morning it was a bit rainy, and I didn't want to hurry into hikes because I knew that later on it's going to be sunnier. So we kind of slowly made our way towards the waterfalls, and that was really, really beautiful. And then we stopped into another small town, and we had some small chocolate and like dessert there, and we had a lot of snacks with us, so we were not hungry at all. Then we made it to the hotel, and I've got sick, unfortunately. So my dinner was peppermint tea and chamomile tea, and then some dried bread, basically, or something like that. Like I couldn't eat because my stomach was really bothering me. And then Saturday was the day when we left, but we wanted to do a little bit more things. And unfortunately, because I wasn't feeling well, I was like, I don't know if I can trust. Like, initially, I wanted to go on another train, like to try to actually get a train ride. But I was like, I can't be on a train ride for like half an hour or 1 hour. Like, I can't, like, mm-mm. So then we just did two more stops to see an aqueduct that is famously known because it's famously known because it's known because the architect of who made the bridge was the one who made Brooklyn Bridge. So that was before the Brooklyn Bridge, basically. And then we also did a stop which we've done last year as well, and that was to a farm where we bought like apples and apple cider and donuts and stuff like that. That was really delicious. And we are planning to do this as often as possible, like at least once a year, to go to that farm because they really have amazing things. And so, yes, all in all, it was a very successful trip. I have to say that from a personal point of view, I didn't make the best choices, but also I haven't, I still feel like this trip was one of the best trips that my husband and I did because it was a good combination between my style of traveling, which is mostly like I'm trying to pack too much within a day, and his style of traveling that he's trying mostly to relax and take it easy. So we did a bit of exploring, but then we also relaxed, a bit of exploring, but we also relaxed, and it was so lovely. The colors of autumn are amazing, and it really got me all energized and feeling better for the rest of the days. That being said, I also have to mention for my dear listeners that this season I'm going to try to have the podcast only once in 2 weeks, so bi-weekly. And if I will feel the need to make any extra episodes, I will see how I'm going to go about that. But for now, I'm going to have episodes once in 2 weeks. So that being said, see me, listen to me in 2 weeks. This concludes today's episode. Thank you for listening and for reviewing Traveling Inside Out. If you want to get in touch with me, send an email to podcast@alinaigrad.com. And remember, your outer journey begins with inner work. Until next time.